Okay, so today we are going to be working on writing equations, so similar to what we did in Chapter 2, but then also going into something more like translating math expressions. So if we are just given like a problem down at below where it says 53 more than a number, 64 less than a number, we can kind of translate what that mathematical expression is by just using keywords. So when I'm talking about addition, sum, more than, or increased by are all words that talk about addition. Probably the one we need to make sure is that more than and sum are probably going to be the two that are used quite often. Whenever we use the word more than or less than, so with subtraction, using less than or difference. But whenever we use the word less than or more than, that always is going to change the order. And so when I use more than or less than, it doesn't really matter as much for addition, but for subtraction it does make a difference. We have to make sure that we get it right then. So whenever we have subtraction, we're using the word less than. It's going to change the order. It's going to flip the order that the words are put in the sentence. Multiplication, times, multiplied. The two that I want to highlight are product and of. When you're talking about taking half of a number, it's 1/2 times the number. And with division, quotient is the one that is kind of not as common. Divided by is probably what we use most often. And then whenever we have an equal sign, that'll always be shown to us by the word is. So when I'm going to translate these, again, I'm just looking for those key words. So the first one is 53 more than a number, so I'm going to highlight more than. More than is telling us that this is addition. And again, more than changes the order. So what's going to happen is these two are actually going to change in order. So instead of being 53 plus, we can use x for a number. It's going to be x plus 53. Same thing with the second one. I'm using the word less than. Less than, again, changes the order. Less than and more than. So I know that these are going to be flipped in order. This one makes a difference. So I have to make sure that I go x minus 64. That is 64 less than a number. You take the number, and you'll know it needs to be less than 64. Next one, times, again, is multiplication. So you can go 4x or 4 times x. And then the last one, quotient. So again, the quotient of 3 and y. Quotient means division, so I do 3 divided by y. Everything stays in order. When I do quotient, it's 3 and y, so it's 3 divided by y. When I get into the next ones, again, I've got kind of multiple things happening. So with this first one, I've got 6 more than 3 times a number. So I've got addition as well as multiplication. And so, again, more than is going to change the order. So I'm going to flip these two guys. So I'm going to go 3 times x and then plus 6. With the next one, I've got less than and quotient. Again, less than is going to change the order. So I'm going to flip the 4 and the quotient. Quotient means division, so I'm going to go x divided by 4, and then minus 4. And then the last one there, I've got the product of 8 and the sum of x and 2. So again, I want to multiply 8 and the sum of x and 2. And so when I do that, I'm going to do 8 times, and then the sum of x and 2 means that I'm going to go parentheses x plus 2. The reason why I know there's parentheses is I'm multiplying the product and the sum I'm not doing, it's not the product of 8 and x and then plus 2. It is the product of 8 and the sum x and 2. So I would put parentheses because I want to do that sum first, and then I want to multiply.